जय राम जय जय। ओम श्री राम जय जय। ओम श्री राम जय जय। ओम श्री राम जय जय। सीताराम 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 सीताराम।
मेरे गुरुदेव चरणों पर सुमन श्रद्धा के अर्पित है। तेरा ही देना है जो है, वही तुझको समर्पित है। न प्रीति है प्रतीति है, न ही पूजा की शक्ति है। न प्रीति है प्रतीति है, न ही पूजा की शक्ति है। मेरे मन मेरे आत्मा मेरे कण समर्पित है। मेरे गुरुदेव चरणों पर सुमन श्रद्धा के अर्पित है। तुम ही हो मन में, विचारों में, पुकारों में। तुम ही हो मन में, विचारों में, पुकारों में। बना ले अंतर मुझको मैं, सर्वत्र समर्पित है। मेरे गुरुदेव चरणों पर सुमन श्रद्धा के अर्पित है। मेरे गुरुदेव चरणों पर सुमन श्रद्धा के अर्पित है। बोलिए अनंत जी, थैंक यू।
प्रभु जी दया करो, मन में आन बसो। प्रभु जी दया करो, मन में आन बसो। तुम बिना लागे सुना, तुम बिना लागे सुना। खाली घट में प्रेम भरो, खाली घट में प्रेम भरो। प्रभु जी दया करो, मन में आन बसो तंत्र मंत्र पूजा नहीं जानो तंत्र मंत्र पूजा नहीं जानो मैं तो केवल तुमको ही मानूं मैं तो केवल तुमको ही मानूं सारे जग में ढूंढा तुमको सारे जग में ढूंढा तुमको अब तो आकर बाह धरो अब तो आकर बाह धरो हे प्रभु जी प्रभु जी प्रभु जी दया करो मन में आन बसो मन में आन बसो मन में आन बसो
नंद नंद आनंद नंद नंद गोविंद नंद नंद गोपाला गोपाला नंद नंद आनंद नंद नंद गोविंद नंद नंद गोपाल गोपाला नंद नंद आनंद नंद नंद गोविंद नंद नंद गोपाल नंद नंद आनंद नंद नंद गोविंद नंद नंद गोपाला नंद नंद आनंद नंद नंद गोविंद नंद नंद गोपाल गोपाला नंद नंद आनंद नंद नंद गोविंद नंद नंद गोपाल गोविंदा गोविंदा गोपाला गोपाल गोविंदा गोविंदा गोपाला गोपाल नंद नंद आनंद नंद नंद गोविंद नंद नंद गोपाला गोपाला नंद नंद आनंद नंद नंद गोविंद नंद नंद गोपाल गोपाला नंद नंद आनंद नंद नंद गोविंद नंद नंद गोपाल गोविंदा गोविंदा गोपाला गोपाल गोविंदा गोविंदा गोपाला गोपाल नंद नंद आनंद नंद नंद गोविंद नंद नंद गोपाला गोपाला नंद नंद आनंद नंद नंद गोविंद नंद नंद गोपाला गोपाला नंद नंद आनंद नंद नंद गोविंद नंद नंद गोपाला गोपाला नंद नंद आनंद नंद नंद गोविंद नंद नंद गोपाल गोपाल नंद 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 गोविंद नंद नंद Gopala, Gopala, Nanda Nanda, Ananda Nanda Nanda, Govinda Nanda, Gopala, Nanda Nanda, Ananda Nanda, Govinda Nanda, Gopala. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. 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 Jai Jai Radha Hari Bol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana 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 Hari Bol. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shivaya. Govinda Madhava Gopala Keshava Govinda Madhava Gopala Keshava He Nanda Mukunda Nanda Govinda Radhe Gopala He Nanda Mukunda Nanda Govinda Radhe Gopala Govinda Madhava Gopala Keshava Govinda Madhava Gopala Keshava Radhe 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 Shyam 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 Govinda Madhava Gopala Keshava Govinda Madhava Gopala Keshava Nanda Mukunda Nanda Govinda Radhe Gopala Nanda Mukunda Nanda Govinda Radhe Gopala.
Thank you, my dear. You can't hear? No audio? No, she can hear. Some can hear. Yes, okay, okay. Namaste, everyone. Very warm welcome to Satsang this morning. Sadhguru Shri Mujiji ki Jai. If this was the end of everything, the end of the story, would there be something wrong? If nothing more was to happen, if you would not be any more enlightened than you are now, what would be wrong with that? What is missing right now? I should speak fast because Don't give your mind a chance to think about it. Because yeah, sometimes the silence feels very beautiful, but sometimes I just sense in the pause, when you start to think about it, and you say, now you can definitely come up with something that's missing. So in the now, the cat? Yeah, outside. You're hearing this cat which is meowing and wondering where it's coming from. Yeah? Bowl of milk, the next bowl of milk. I haven't used the cat example for a while, so they must be upset. There is nobody inside this body, and there is nobody outside this body. It's just a belief that I exist somewhere, either inside this body or outside this body. Just an idea that I have a location, but nobody has found a location for this I am. Because all locations actually are within me. And anytime in this appearance, if we get, if we say it is mine, if we say it is me, it is bound to lead to trouble. My life, my wife, my parents, my master, my sangha, my children. If everything is about my, then can we at least find this me? I often take this example that when we moved into this house, then this house already had a small garden outside on the terrace. And there are lots of plants and grass which is growing. But one day I felt like I wanted to plant some seeds. I plant some seeds and they started to sprout. So what would happen is that the first thing I would do when I would go outside is check on the status of these sprouts. There are so many other plants, you see, which were also appearing. but there was an attachment to the line. When you notice these things, and you see that why is it that first the impulse was to check on what I had planted. What is the difference between these sprouts and the rest of the garden? These my so if all our stories depend on this me,
If you can hear me, Father, you're frozen.
it's good. You don't have to hold anything together. Actually, satsang is the place where you can just completely let go. So this sense, because we hear these words every day, you are not a person, consciousness, awareness, we keep hearing these terms. And sometimes because they are so often repeated, we lose the sense of magnificence around it. That's why the feeling from here the last few days has been to push you towards just digesting this first. You cannot find a person. Cannot find an individual entity. It is not your life in that way. You never existed personally except as a myth. And the myth is energized only with our belief. Take any myth. Would it have any power without your belief? For those who believe in the Loch Ness monster seems real. And those who don't believe in it, it is nothing at all. Notice how it is just like this. The idea that I exist as a separate entity who can say this is my life and this is what's happening to me is as much a myth as the Loch Ness monster. At least with Loch Ness monster, some have reported some sightings, no? Some have even pretended, I don't know whether. Some have even taken some photographs and put them up. And when we search for this person, all we come up with is the body. We say that this is the body, this is the Loch Ness monster. What do you mean? It is not real. But it doesn't stand 2 minutes of scrutiny, open scrutiny, this idea. You see? Because most of what you want has nothing to do with the body. Most of what is bothering you, the body is not concerned about at all. Is the body concerned whether our relationships are going well or not? Is the body concerned about money in the bank? No, nothing about, yes? What? She says, why is it there, Ananta? What? It's take, take the mic. Yeah.
My question was wise.
Father, you're frozen again.
So it is the most common instrument to experience this realm, the dream realm, that which we call the waking or the dream states.
But initially the body seems to determine the quality of experiencing.
How do you mean? Like when you're a baby?
Yeah, because the body is born into a particular
Yes.
family,
Yes.
and the body is nourished
Yes.
according to the conventions
Yes.
surrounding it, and something retains the imprints of those things, and for a while it acts out those impressions received. So initially it seems like it is determining the
Yes.
quality
Yes.
of experience
You
in
mean the
the.
initial conditioning coming from the surroundings? Is that what you mean? And yet you find that two children could even be twins in the same family. You see, with the same parenting, everything, they still act out differently. You see, why is that? Because there is another flow of conditioning which is coming. from the mind. So a child of 2.5, you already notice both my children had very different temperament. Because one's mind was telling it something else, and one,
But it is said, I don't know that we choose the how we manifest the the matter of choice. That is what the Tibetans and so many say. But
yes, but we as what? You see, that is the point. Of course, God decides. So if I'm referring to myself as God, then of course God decides how it wants to experience this realm. You see? Because here we don't have too much scope for the idea of an individual soul or something like this. Although I enjoy those ideas also very much, saying that everything is scripted by us before we come, those things were enjoyed here also. But once you look here, your God presence is already here. The sense that I am. Yeah.
in between the body and even like self knowledge or whatever, it is deeply rooted in. Without the body there cannot be, or at least
Yes,
the
this
current
realm
limits of
hardly ever experienced without the body. This seems to be the instrument of experiencing.
it still doesn't want anything, like it's basically inert.
Isn't
That's
it?
yes,
Yes.
yes. It's just there.
Yes.
Yes.
It's just here. Even the sensations of urges and these things can come. You see? So, so we can say like that. But most of what the mind wants, the mind is saying, it has nothing to do with actually. And there is no reason, for example, for a body to come to satsang. You see? There are some energetic benefits, of course, but the body is unconcerned even by energetic benefits.
Advaita says that we are at home. We never went up, but without this body, we cannot have the experience of recognition that we are God.
Anything.
I found that body has a very important role. Okay,
Yeah.
not in the source.
That's why I say that the body is actually much maligned for needlessly, because everything we just say is the problem that I'm identified as the body is the root of the problem. It can be
Is
some
the root
condition.
of identity.
It can seem like that, but it is actually the root of identity is that I am this entity that is the owner even of this body. You see, my body. Why is we so concerned about this body? Because it seems like what the body experiences is my experience, isn't it? So this seeming center of experiencing this universe then becomes the idea that I am enclosed in this body. But even this, which is either the owner of this body or enclosed in this body, so when we have a dream, also it seems like I'm enclosed in the body. You see, I'm the owner of that body. And then when we wake up, what do we realize? That the dream was actually projected within me, and I was not within the dream. And as we lose this personal identity, then all of these insights will come even about the waking state. Yes. What is the theme?
It's like, am I dreaming?
Yes.
Am I dreaming this?
Yes.
Like, I just don't know how to word it. I just don't know. Am I dreaming this
Yes.
reality
Yes.
now?
Yes. Yes.
But then what about the predestined thing? Because
Yes.
if I'm dreaming it now,
Yes.
then how can it be predestined?
Yes. So is your dream the dream that we have in the night, the dream state? Is that is the script predetermined, or are you projecting it on the fly?
I think it's just being projected
Yes.
then in a sleep
Yes.
state, is it?
Yes.
So
Then in the sleep, there's no sleep state in the dream state.
there's no
Sleep state in the dream state.
sleep state.
Just
Oh,
like there's
deep
no.
sleep. There's no deep sleep in the dream state. Is that?
Yes. No, also
Sorry.
sleep state. It's very. There might be an idea still that says that when I go to sleep, I dream. And we speak like that conversationally. That's like saying that in this waking state, I'm actually asleep, but I'm waking.
I'm so confused. I'm
When
just
there is a dream state, does it seem different from the waking state?
no.
Then what is asleep?
Where dreams are non-happening.
Yeah. So if I say that, so if this is a dream,
Yeah.
then is it that you're sleeping and you're dreaming?
If this is a dream, is it that I'm asleep? What?
Because the the idea could be that I dream when I sleep.
Oh
And
God, I'm so confused.
that's what you say, no? That it's separate from deep sleep, but still it is sleeping. When I'm sleeping, then I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
You see? So if this is a dream,
Yeah.
then are you sleeping?
Well, I would say
Yeah.
this Zia character is in the dream,
Yes.
but what I am is not. I mean, it is in this, but it's not in this. It's
Yeah.
dreaming this.
Yes. Okay.
But what I want to know is it now? Is it now that it's happening, or is it It can't be predestined because I'm dreaming it now.
What do you mean by predestined?
Like everything's written as a story, and it's just it's already been.
Two options. One is that everything is playing out according to script,
Yeah.
and second is that it's all happening just live in the moment. Everything is unfolding. You see, as long as it is clear that there is no individual doer in either case, then whether God has written a script and it's playing according to that script, or God is winging it moment to moment.
Yeah.
You see,
That's what I want to know.
or that everything has already happened and it is revisiting it with its attention. You see, all these possibilities are there.
But do you know?
there is no such thing as time itself.
Yeah.
You see, when we start off speaking like that, how can it be that any of this has actually happened? Because this whole concept of time and space itself is a myth. If we start, so to to explore whether the script has been written and it's playing in time would mean that first we give the idea of time
Yeah.
more importance than it deserves. You see? Okay, so let's look at it like this. To the infinite, what does 100 years mean?
Nothing.
Nothing. Literally, it is nothing.
Nothing.
You see?
Nothing.
Cannot grasp this in this way. Cannot grasp it in this way. It is far from the mind. What is most important is to see that there is no individual doer, decision maker, choice maker. Because at some level, to say that God has a script the way He has run the world or created the world is a joke also. Why would God need a script?
Yeah.
You see? So if okay, let's bring the concept of an instant. Everything just happened in an instant for God. You see? Now, just like a painting, he's revisiting that instant with his attention, looking at one part and looking at another part, and that flow of attention is seeming like the flow of time in some way. You see? Then can we say that it was predestined? No, it was just an instant. It is just that instant being revisited with our attention. So what you're talking about, these things like attention and belief, we take it personally, actually, but it is not a person's attention or a person's belief. Who is giving attention? Who's getting the belief? God Himself. You see? You see? So if 100 for God is nothing, so in that nothing, if all of this seeming creation and destruction of the universe happened, then this process of visiting this creation seems to be the flow of time. Now, this has gone far beyond what the mind can understand or think about, isn't it? So, if you just had a paint set, you see, and you spilled it on this canvas, you see, it happened in an instant, you see. But to visit it with your attention and to see, then you say, okay, this red color started from here, it's going like this, then it went here and it ended up here. You see? So that's the flow of time. So if like this, so there is no question of predetermination or playing it moment to moment because already happened in an instant. You see, it just seemed like time and space. I just used to revisit all of this holy instant of creation and dissolution.
Running on with this, like, not wanting to sound arrogant theme, I'm just going to say
Yes,
it.
yes.
And this is something that I wouldn't usually say for fear of being arrogant, but I just don't care anymore, so
Very
I'm just
good.
going to say it. Like, I feel like experientially, I have experienced this,
Yes.
but intellectually, there was just no understanding to comprehend it in a
Yes.
way that I know that doesn't make sense, but it was just like, I feel like the intellectual understanding is important.
Yes.
It is.
Well, important, relatively
Yeah.
important, yes.
But because I never had that before, like it was always just about the experience and the feeling and the presence and that. But it's the intellectual understanding from that I'm is incredible. I really
Yes.
can bring the two together.
Yes.
Yeah.
What happens is that when we have had moments of great clarity and insight, you see, but it is not, we have to say like this, confirmed, say, you see, then what happens is that the mind spouts a lot of ideas about how you should be or should not be. You see? So when we encounter someone in this realm who also confirms and then resonates with what you have experienced, then there comes some settling. Then the mind's voice, which is constantly trying to distract us from this, to doubt what we saw, then that doesn't seem to have that much power. That's why the living teacher you reveal itself. You see, you don't have to refer to some second-hand testimony about that. So if you were the only one in this realm, in this appearance, to have had the insight of the truth, you see, suppose you were the first, uh, then what would happen is that the mind would come and say, this, but it's like this, but it's like this, and there's nothing in the realm which is confirming your truth. You see? So the mind would seem to have more power. So it can work both ways, where the master is pointing and you're looking and confirming to yourself, yes, this is true. You see? Or you come to the master and you say that this is what my truth is. Does it resonate with what your direct seeing is as well? And then that way also, then basically the mind starts losing its power. Because you see, there's resonance even in this realm, in this way. And thankfully it is there like this. Because suppose in this realm it was only personhood, you see. And then as soon as we would have the insight of the truth, then we would become like just left on our own, and there's no support system, no sangha, no teacher. Then it would be the mind would use that as a very fertile opportunity to try and put some doubt, to try. Now you're in a sangha, you're here, so you have many who can resonate with what you're saying. Because I can also understand when you say that I'd really feel a bit shy to speak these things because I might be misunderstood, and that potential is there. But the good thing is that in a sangha, if you share like this, then some will understand you completely what you're saying, some will misunderstand you. But for those who are misunderstanding you also, it is satsang. So we must not become too sheepish, yeah? And we must not become just, we must not hand it over to the mind. You see? So, in fact, it is great joy, like I was saying yesterday, to hear any of you place the truth. I find great joy in this because I prefer that much more than you holding on to the perspective that I'm not still there yet, or because in this moment you are. So when we're not rushing to pick up this idea of the unfulfilled seeker, then yeah, then even this seeker identity of seeking starts to dissolve. And like I was saying yesterday to you, or to you, which was that if I find that it's becoming too much and it's been given to the mind and it's sounding arrogant, then you're here, no? We'll sort it out. So don't have to be concerned about that.
Thank you.
It seems that my mind come much more when I feel something burning, and now some anger is. I know you can now. About the body, I'm coming more inside our body. It seems that my mind come much more when I go through your words, because if I'm not hearing and I trust is not in your words, I trust this energy, there are this trust, and it seems that for me it's somehow easier without when there are more silence. But perhaps it's necessary some approach for our minds by the words our mind they are familiar to us. Perhaps is that because it's so much easy to this mind come and not let it happen how it is, trusting just in you. If I go with your words, it's always possible to find some contradiction because they are human words. What I trust is this energy, and I don't know. I know it is love, but I'm not so. Words cannot explain. It's always.
Just like yesterday, also we were saying that
It's just this.
Words are always contradictory.
Is it?
No pointing
We
will
can
actually.
just find things to distract ourselves.
Yes. But having said that,
try to boycott your satsang.
you do because then the feedback will come. Where does feedback actually end? If you don't turn off the speaker, so if you just have a mic pointing and some sound is coming from that, you see, from the speaker, and it's going back to the mic and it's going back to the speaker, then at what point does it end? It becomes shriller and shriller and shriller till either the speaker blows up or all our ears blow up or what happens. So it doesn't. Does it get to a frequency which is inaudible? Who's willing to experiment alone after satsang? Yeah, yeah. The blow up, the blow up. Yeah. 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 So there's a cutoff frequency in the amplifier. Okay. It should be lower, maybe the cutoff frequency. That's good to know. Yeah, exactly. It's exponential, no? Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Some questions. Shakti wants to come. You can come, my dear, of course.
Namaste.
Namaste, my dear.
Um, is it my thing that's making the feedback come?
If there is some feedback, but it's okay. You're audible.
It's okay. Okay. I just felt like I needed to bring this this thing that's been here for a while, and when I inquire, which is very often, there's no problem. And it's seen that whatever is arising, including the I, is just a play. Everything disappears, and So there's been some arising of confusion about why this particular thing keeps coming, which is around a doership with work.
Yes.
And I don't want to tell a long story, but I'll just give a little bit of context, which is when all this began to happen, when I feel Guruji sort of scooped me up, my work fell away. Can you hear me? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And with my work, the actual clients that I was seeing fell away, but also my license fell away, which means I'm technically not allowed to offer the services that I was trained to offer. And there was some questioning all along, is this the activity of the mind, that I would let the license go. And so I would contemplate and be looking and just notice that nothing was going to go pursue the license. It just kept being no movement toward that. And so it almost feels as though there was a kind of like that, okay, it's clear. And then I sort of wouldn't worry about it, you know. But then in the last maybe many months, it's been very present much of the day. And I'm contemplating and seeing, and I land in the same place, which is nothing's happening. And so I felt like I had to bring this because my experience with the dissolution of illusion is that it might come back to see, is there still something here to look at? But it's almost like if it's really clear, then every time it comes back with less of a bite. And yet it feels like the opposite has been happening, like the volume's up louder, and attention is going more. And so I just feel that I have to bring this, and not, if I just feel like if I'm harboring something, then I don't want that. I don't want to harbor what isn't true in any part of my life, any part of my life.
So let's start with just looking at this one. When you say that the bite actually has become stronger or louder, the bite
Yes.
is this bite of the work identity
Yes.
regarding the of the license and the work identity. So now, for you to be able to identify as someone who has, first you must have to pick up the idea that there must be an individual entity, because work must be of this entity that must be getting some belief from us, because we are not really talking about God's work. We're talking about the work that Shakti has to do. So, and you, I know very well, know that there is actually no Shakti in that way,
Yes.
isn't it? So the way the mind is using the work identity is just to bring you back to some amount of belief in this non-existent entity.
Yes.
And if you find this entity now, then
No.
we will tell this one how to proceed with its work. But if you don't find this one now, then who's talking to who?
So what I find right now, like just this space and sort of it, like thoughts running through the space, and who they're talking to. Even the one they're talking to, which feels like a me, that scene
Yes,
from something, not something.
yes, yes. So even this sense I am, I exist, which seems to be the experiencer of these words, is also seen,
Yes.
you see. So from that point, that which sees even this, and you say it is not something, it is just the seeing itself. Now, what kind of work can this one do? And what kind of license do we need to give this one? So if this is who you are, and this is who you are, then what we are talking about in terms of work and the license is the appearance within the presence I which of
Father, I think
Shakti.
I lost you. Could you say that again?
Yeah.
I heard
Yes, my
after
dear.
the presence, the movement within the presence, or the.
Yes. So what we are then talking about is the appearance of this Shakti within the presence I am, which is moving about on its own, just like a dream is happening on its own.
Yes.
But the subtitler, the mind, the interpreter is is subtitling it in this way that you must do it like this, you must do it like that. But is there a way that awareness has to intervene in this in any way? How can the witnessing help Shakti out?
It's like there's no link, and yet there. It's all inside this. That's the link, but there's no way that this knowing.
Yeah. One good way to visualize this is to make the life of Shakti just feel like it's appearing in two dimensions on a screen
Hmm.
instead of this immersive, you see. So if you just look at it like that, it's all on the screen which you are witnessing, and the life of Shakti is going about, the life of everyone that comes onto the screen is just moving about on its own. And the subtitler is coming with the subtitle saying, help Shakti get her license. Let her do some work. You see?
Yes.
And the witnessing is just looking at that and saying, but I am here. What can I do? You see, there is no way for you really as awareness to jump in and become an A. There is no way to play it in this way. At best, we can say that it is the presence here which is playing this life, these roles. You see? But there is nothing that this presence needs or God needs in terms of intervention from its own creation, which is the mind, to become an aid to, you see, because if the mind, suppose the mind actually had some good ideas, where do those also come from? The same consciousness, you see. So if
Yes.
consciousness already knows all of that, then why does it need the mind's help? So from the perspective of awareness, you see that you're just this primal witnessing of this play of the life of Shakti. God, you know that God does not need the help of this to run a life.
Father, so I was looking at this today, and never mind, it's gone. I can't even finish my sentences. Okay. It's good. I was probably going to say something meaningless anyways.
See again?
I said it's good. I was probably going to say something meaningless anyways. Did I lose you?
We missed that part. Maybe you just froze up, at least for us. I'm not sure what happened from here.
It's okay. I just was feeling when I was looking at this yesterday or today, probably both. And when we met in Rishikesh, you asked me something. You asked me, what is in the way? And I knew what it felt like was in the way, but I couldn't. There were no words to talk about that that I knew of at the time. But over the year after that, there was a lot of looking at that question, and what came very clearly was this, that the I doesn't exist in the way that this me imagined itself to be. Exactly. And so it was like an annihilation kind of fear that that over the last year, Grace has really dissolved that for the most part. And I'm maybe there was a little bit of a feeling today, like because what's happened over the last many months is that I just can't get off my couch. There's no movement to do anything that is not related to just, like doing something for the children, or I eat when I'm hungry and I get the children where they need to go. There's nothing else at all.
Yeah.
And today I was remembering that feeling of a fear of nothing somehow. And yet, this nothing is not afraid of itself. There's no sense of that at all.
Yeah.
And so, if there is that in me, that residual fear, whatever power there is in me to surrender it, I choose that. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear.
I love you, Father. Thank you.
Oh, I love you too, my dear. Even if we were to suppose that I could do something about not sitting on the couch, how would I go about doing it? Because it's very easy to say I should just get up and move, but how would I get up? Yeah.
There's no
There's
way to get up.
no connection system.
There's none. I've been trying for months. Thoughts come and try to say, get up and do this or don't do that, and nothing happens, just the sitting here.
Yeah. Is it
And
so?
there's a lot of just very beautiful solitude in this.
Yes.
And perhaps this is all working in on the doer, engaging that whatever was left there.
Yes. So if all actions in this realm are dependent on the presence of this life energy or life force, how is it that the mind could create this? How is it that it could even provide the energy for us to get up from the couch? It is just not possible. There is no connection between the mythical entity and this play of atoms and molecules on this realm.
No.
So the choice maker itself does not exist. Therefore, the pretend choice which is coming from the mind, that has no power over what is playing out here. See? So,
I've looked at this and oh,
I was just saying that sitting
sorry,
on the
Father.
couch or running on the street, all of that is just appearing with
Yes.
no individual decision maker of those. You see, that's why Bhagwan also very beautifully said that if there's a sense that I have a choice, then only make one choice. As long as you have the sense that you have some choice, then only make one choice, which is not to not go with your thoughts, with the stream of thoughts. And if you make that choice, then also we come to this seeing that even this was not a choice, even this was grace, as has been everything else.
Yes.
What are you saying over there? That although choice is mythical, so not the choice of getting up or sitting, not the choice of anything else, just this seeming choice of not going along with our thought stream.
Yes.
So happy to see you in the hangout.
Hmm.
I'm glad for these Wednesday satsangs.
I am so glad for them. Thank you. Thank you, Father.
And thank you and Radhika and Lucia so much for Garima had a very
Oh,
beautiful time with you all, and she actually came and she said that it was the only time when I was there that I felt at home, was the time that I
mm.
spent.
Thank you for the privilege.
Thank you. Thank
You know, Father, I loved her the moment I saw her.
you. Can you say again, my dear?
I
What
said
happened?
I loved her the moment that I saw her, the moment that just it's already there, this love.
Yes,
And I love her like I've loved her for all eternity.
yes, yes.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, my dear.
Thank you.
Mhm. Yes.
You asked that how is it that the mind, the content of mind can contribute, can have any contribution to the movement of any action. So like one thing I can think of
Yes.
is determination, future ambition, and these kind of things
Yes.
comes like it appears to comes from the mind
Yes.
and it influence a lot the movement of the body. For example, if you have a very strong ambition, future, these kind of things, then the actions are very dynamic and a lot of movement. And when the content of the mind is very relaxed and peaceful, then there's not, like she was saying, that she's just sitting on the couch all day and only the bare necessary movement that need to happen happens. So in this way mind has influence on the action.
Seems like that. I'll tell you what you said actually reminded me of a story. Many years ago, I used to run this foundation called the Kushal Foundation, where we would provide underprivileged children in the slums of Bangalore with healthcare services. And then one day I went to the clinic, and over there, these volunteers they showed me some booklets. We used to maintain health booklets for all the kids. They said today Bill Gates came. Bill Gates came. I said, Bill Gates came because I know that he ran the foundation, so I have oh Bill Gates came, you know? And then I realized that they were talking about this kid whose name was Bill Gates. And I said, is this a joke? Were they just fooling around and filling this? It is because the father asked, so who is the richest man in the world? And someone told him, Bill Gates. They said, my child is going to be the richest man in the world, and that's why his name is Bill Gates. Then like this, I started noticing that in the urban slums, it's a pattern like this. That there are kids who are called George Bush, Bill Gates. Yes, I have health records and I met the parents. There are kids who are called these names because my child should be the most powerful one. So who's the most powerful? Maybe at that time it was George Bush. Who's the richest one? Bill Gates. Okay? So that with this conditioning, with this ambition, with this, it would translate into a lot of fire and energy into this. You see, but you could be called Bill Gates, you could have all the Bill Gates thoughts, you see, but you could still be sitting on your couch. You see, if it was just about these thoughts, and everyone has very fancy thoughts, you see, even as tomorrow onwards, I'm just going to crack it, you see. Yeah, and yet it doesn't move. Why? Because the cloud is shaped as if it is the Indra, the god of thunder, doesn't mean it's going to necessarily rain like that. Okay? But there are times where a cloud could be shaped like that and it rains like that. Then the mind comes and says, see, because you had these thoughts, you were able to do it. Okay? Like many times you also must have noticed that without any ambition, thought, goal, You're very productive at work. You see, you've done all your work faster than if you're full of saying, yes, today I'm going to just finish it so fast so I can finish everything and then go to satsang in the evening. And it just doesn't seem to move. The most simple program has a bug which is not being spotted at all. So this is the same Yoga Vashisht example. Yeah? The bird comes and lands on the branch of the coconut tree and the coconut falls. The mind says, because the bird came and landed. If it is all about the content of our ambition, the content of our thoughts and beliefs, then everybody would be super achiever. Nobody wants to not be.
Not only that, it's like suppose like this thought of over ambition or achieve inspiration comes in the form of thought, and then if the belief happens for that thought, then it brings the movement. For example, Satsang, now let's make some money. So like if you believe that thought, then of course the like there will be some changes in the
It can seem like that. That's what I'm saying. It's a seeming. But many have believed these kind of thoughts and still show up in satsang the next day. You see, and many have not. So in this, there's a book called Fooled by Randomness. Take even mathematically, the play of this world is very statistically accurate to a random set of same say golf balls. You have these mathematical studies on these things, right? So if you take 7 billion golf balls, one will land up over there, one will go here, one will go here, just mathematically, you see. And the book Fooled by Randomness is about this, how we take just what is aligned completely with statistical probability and we assign very good stories to them and say it is because of this kind of vision or this kind of strategy or this kind of whatever, which is very aligned with what we are saying about choicelessness or no doership. Because this whole world is working with some sort of mathematical probability, and the mind comes and says, because you said this or because you did this, that's why. You see, it's very quick to assign these kind of stories. And there are many biases that come also because of this. For example, things like success bias. Because if you read the papers, you only read about successes of till last year. This year, you hear about a lot of failures of that ambition. Every startup entrepreneur, I know it's going a little away from satsang, but every startup entrepreneur that I have met has had a lot of fire, lot of ambition, you see. But it doesn't always translate into action, doesn't always translate into success.
it's not like that. For example, let's say suppose it's just like this, like 1,000 people come to satsang, it doesn't mean that 1,000 people will get realization of the truth. In the same way, if like 1,000 people are working for the success, it doesn't mean that 1,000 people will achieve the success.
Why not? If it
Because
is about that ambition and thinking, then it should be, no?
no, success has a contribution of these things, but there are a lot of other factors.
Like
Luck,
luck is what?
God's will.
Okay. You see, so what you're saying is that God plays a part, a part as well. Now this you cannot find. Isn't that the root of it? You say luck or God's will plays a part, but it cannot be without you playing a part. Now this you is who? Like we were saying that day, how do you move your hand? Like at this moment, I don't know which hand is also going to move. Okay, I'm going to move the right hand, and the right hand seems to move. How did I, was it done? How is that decision actually moving the hand? Do you know how to do it?
So like you mean to say that there is no difference at all between voluntary and involuntary actions?
Yes. Because who's volunteering for the action or not? And so my right hand will move it. Could have just been as a joke, the left hand could have moved. God joke. You see? So just like the thought came, move the hand, same way the action came, the movement of the hand. I did not create that thought because I don't know which thought is going to come next. Why did I say move the hand and not move the leg? I don't know. You do not know the next thought. Only post facto, then another thought comes and says, see, you decided to move the hand. If it is thought based, then thought is controlled by who? Who is creating your next thought? Then you say it is just an appearance from nothing, goes back into nothing.
Can I say that it can be also like the breath, which like if you let go, then it has a natural reciprocation,
Yes. Yeah.
and but there is also a freedom to direct it in a certain way. For example, the pranayam, the different kind of yogic exercise that you do.
So
In the same way, there are thoughts.
how do you control the breath flow? How do you move those nerves?
Like we used to do na in Sudarshan Kriya.
Yes, I know. How did I do it?
Means how?
You see, it's just illusory idea that because the thought comes that okay, now I'm going to control my breath. You see, therefore, this I, who we cannot even find, then finds a way to constrict the breath. Who is actually playing like this? Neither the thought we decided that this is going to be. The thought came to you, what about movement of breath? What did you do to create that thought? What are the ingredients you used to create the thought? Did you collect some energy from somewhere, put it together as a thought it came? Who is this one who did that? The thought arose, but what about breath? See? And the action arose. Both are just arising within this play of consciousness. Who is the thought speaking to? Who are these two?
Can't I say it in this way that just like in this space of I am, like this
Yes.
the body exists in the same way, and this body is a like a phenomenal tool to experience this
Yes.
realm.
Yes.
In the same way, I exist, and this
I
energy
exist as what? Can't
as
slip that in
okay,
very subtly.
so
Body exists, okay, in this realm. Then,
so I exist as that which knows the body,
okay, that which knows the body, okay, very good, yes. Now,
or if I could give it to some attribute, then I would say that this space like I am, in which the body is appearing.
you exist as I am. That would, no, just clarifying what you said. He's looking very disappointed in my
Of course,
response.
I exist.
As I
Otherwise,
am. Exist. Isn't it? Yes, that's what you're saying. Okay, then.
And in the same way as the body is appearing, this energy
Is
which
she
is
crying because of the questions or the answers? Or both? Sometimes I also feel like crying. I understand. At least she didn't say the crying is just happening. I'm not crying. So I am is there then? Is the answers because I started talking again and she started crying again. And she's saying, can we please be quiet? Now Azhar is scared to talk. You know, explode in front of him.
I would love that explosion.
You have to explain to her dad what happened.
Okay, Father, it's just like when Shakti spoke with the question that,
Yeah.
and also the way she was putting those questions, then I felt like I had the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And that's why I wanted to follow up that.
yeah. Yeah, this question actually was very strongly present here also because we've spoken about this also. How there is so much identity around work, because my father.
And also like what you speak, like I have seen in the experience
Yeah,
that it's just what appears in the present moment,
yeah,
like any movement of the body.
exactly.
But like in satsang, like I fight with you because
Oh, finally. Because what? We are waiting for this answer for a very long time. But you told me you were in the debate team in school or something.
because because I feel like there are many moments also that a lot of identification is going with this doership.
Yeah.
Clarification.
Yes,
It's
yes.
good if we can have more clarification on this.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Very often I've said that the real conclusion to this free will versus God's will debate is only to find out who is that one who could have free will. And once we see that there is no one here except God, then there is no distinction between God's will and free will. And I've immersed myself in this question for many years, as you know, with Ramesh. And
But I do still feel strongly that I have free will.
yes, but
Even
you are who?
so, like if you say that if I
You
can
are
live.
who? He's like, just ignore the question. Let's move on.
No. With that question, that
Yes.
what you are implying to say that it is the person, it is the
No, no,
person.
no. I'm not implying anything. You tell me who you are.
I can't relate it to with this question of free will to this sense that I am.
Okay, so let me see if we can relate it. So there's God's will. You say you call it fate or destiny or luck or whatever you call it, and there's this idea of free will. You see, now God's will we know belongs to God. Okay, this free will belongs to who? That must be the meaning of free will, that it is free from God's will. Free will means what? Free from God. It's a very funny term, but free from God's will means what?
I don't see like how this free will that I claim to have is separate from the God's will.
Yeah, exactly. It cannot be different because there is no individual you. There is only
But
God.
I do feel that I have free will.
I know. It's a prevalent feeling in the world where most, if you go and ask, they will say, yes, yes, God, we believe in God, but we have our own free will. And then you say, you are, that is where it starts to, the concept of free will starts to dissolve, you see, because once you see there is nobody here that has free will. Therefore, all must be only God's will, because only God is. If we say God is everywhere, or God is, then what are we saying? God is everywhere except this I who has free will. Okay, included. And how much control does the superset have over this I which is included in that? Just label and leave it at that. Look more and say, okay, there is a superset and there is a subset. So what is the boundary of the superset and subset?
लेकिन हम बोलते हैं ना कि हमारी इतनी शक्ति नहीं है कि हम ईश्वर को जान सकें, देख सकें, तो हम अपनी ही स्तर पर बात करते हैं.
So he's saying, okay, now you only have to translate because you're a better Hindi translator than me.
Like we say that we can't talk about how supreme power is because we don't have that much like strength and power.
Yes, yes, but we're not saying anything. We're just saying, who is this I who doesn't have the power to know God?
Okay, so let's take this practical example. Okay. I can simply drop it if you feel
No,
that.
I just don't drop the question who you are. Because somewhere in a belief, you can say that that is beyond me actually to find out who I am. To find out the distinction between God and I. Don't make that an unapproachable question. So what if the rest of the world says it? That's why there's so few of us in satsang here. Because there's a feeling here that it can be known directly, but it cannot be known mentally. So either you prove me right or you prove me give up on the question.
I am very much okay. We can talk about like 10 days continuously, but if you are okay with it.
Yes, but you don't switch the question. Who is the I that can have free will that is independent from God? You don't call it God's will anymore.
Okay, so I will give a practical example for that.
But do we need an example? Just say who the I is. If there is I who is here, we must be able to point to it, no?
And would it be wrong if I would say that this I who claim to have free will is the consciousness which is present?
Is that I am this consciousness. Then God is also I am that I am. Therefore, it is only your free will, but you as God or consciousness.
As something.
The next thought it is creating. Now, with which gear is it creating the next thought?
If I ask you, imagine banana, can't you imagine banana?
Who? But who is imagining it? Power of imagination belongs to who? I'm not saying that there is no power to imagine. I'm just saying it does not belong to this fictional entity called Ananta. Who created this idea that, let me say, uh, about the banana? That also came from the same consciousness, isn't it? Isn't it? The same consciousness which has the power to project this thought has also the power to project imagination, has the power to project all of this. Yes. But before I said, he said it, no? She's making all attempts to hear only this side of the answer and not that side of the question. So maybe just subliminally the banana when you then she said, when I said banana, she said, yes, banana. I feel we're very close to something here because all that has been you individually now you're seeing belongs to consciousness, the power to imagine, the power of creation of the next thought, the movement of the next action. You see, all of this, who is doing and who is experiencing? Is there an entity called Azar there who's doing it?
Okay, so this hand moves.
It moves.
Before the movement happened, didn't you experience there was a will which arose this movement? Before thought, before movement, there was a will which
Yes,
caused this
yes,
movement.
yes. And who created and experienced it? The sense of moving, the sense of thoughts coming, the sense of imagination, all of this is appearing. That I am denying the existence of Azhar. And you yourself say, can I say it is the consciousness or I am? Yes, of course, that is then what we are saying.
But in my experience, it's not like what Yus or Mujiji says that consciousness is not deliberately doing any of these things. In my experience,
What does it mean deliberately?
like what it sounds to me when Muji speaks on the this topic of, then it feels like he's on some automatic gear and I'm still on manual gear.
Yeah. So let's look at that, because the feeling of being on manual gear feels, does it feel like consciousness or presence is doing it, or does it feel like there's an individual decision maker who's doing it? Because my experience from the past of feeling like I'm doing this or I must do this and now I have to do this, that felt like just the interpretation and the subtitling coming from the mind. You see, irrespective of what was coming from there, the actions were moving independently of this. That's why it's always been in automatic. It just feels like it's
That's what
okay.
you.
So let's go to the root of this also. So suppose you are doing it deliberately on manual gear. Who is this you?
The one which says my body and my thought.
Yes, and who is that? That is the starting point of when we come to satsang. We come to my body, my thought. You see? Now, after you look and inquire into this me, who do you find?
Like I don't see how it is wrong if I say that it is the
Don't,
being.
okay, forget about the conversation we've had so far. I will link it back for you, I promise. Who is this me?
The sense of being I am,
The sense of being is here. Is there anyone else here?
which knows this.
Okay, very good. So, this sense of being is God. Is there any other will except that which belongs to this one?
How could it be possible? We say that like कि बोलते हैं ना कि मतलब पत्ता पत्ता भी ईश्वर की मर्जी से ही हिलता है.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like this.
Yeah. But that's why you use the dream state to check who's projecting the entire universe in the dream. After waking up, you say it's all a projection of my being consciousness. So if you say that all will, so what I find for the me, when I say my will, I find only this being and that which knows this. You see? So this being is that which we call God. So then are you saying this is free will or God's will? So this is a very good contemplation, and contemplate further into this. That there is no other God but this being. And just like a dream, where there might be the sense of a in the dream life, you see that the entire dream was just a play within yourself, within your being. The same way, this waking state also, you will have the same insight. When you take away this idea of the existence of another besides this presence, then all the glory of this presence will become more and more clear to you. So, mythical person and a mythical god will dissolve. You see? And you find that your own being, your own consciousness is the one consciousness, is the one God. And we're no longer reliant on some ideas about myself or some ideas about God.
So if you really mean to say that the being that I experience myself to be, and that which I call God or the supreme power is one,
Yes.
then how is it that okay?
Yeah. So contemplate more on this is very good. Like, let me also check on the chat for a minute. Okay, we'll just take Purbi's question, then we come, my dear.
Namaste, Father.
Namaste, namaste, my
So, Father, I think like you answered most of my questions, uh, but I would like to share some my direct experience, like contemplations, like so. So, Father, like if I drop everything, whatever I learned, everything. So there is only the knowingness is there. There is a knowingness which knows there is a body, learned it somewhere like there is a body. There is a knowingness which learned that there is a mind. There is a knowingness which learned about this world, about the relationships. Like everything is just talking to the knowingness.
Just pause for 1 second.
Yes.
So, this knowingness, is it that it learnt about these things? Because when we learn about something, it means that there's this computer which is seen, but I learned that it is called a computer. You see, so is this the learning that you're talking about, that I see it, then I put a label on it, then I know it? Or which knowingness are you talking about? The mental knowing as conceptual knowing, or that which knows what is appearing and disappearing without the need for any labeling?
Yes, Father. Like all those experiences, like whatever it is, which is knowing everything. So, like we always, what I found is like always here, like all the thoughts are coming to the person, and when I check what is the person, it takes into account the whole physical appearance and along with everything which has experienced so far with like relationships, whatever, like all those problems and everything.
Yes.
But when I was asking, like, because the person who is suffering is actually, it's not the body is suffering, as you mentioned. Nothing is like, it doesn't affect the body, it doesn't affect anything. Only that's a knowingness which is experiencing, that is only kind of suffering or has questions or doubts or everything. That is only the, like what I would say, like it is only the core material, like what is not even, I'm just using those words, but that is only the thing which is telling this is body is having or that is having. But when I was like kind of um, drilling down, and I found it like, Father, like uh, this knowingness just knows, and everything is just changing, all the experiences and everything, all the thoughts, moment by moment, everything is changing. Then what it is referring to as constant, and what it is like saying it is me, then I found out like it is always referring to the sense of existence and taking that as a person actually. And
Yes.
think, and always referring to that sense of existence as a person. But when I was kind of like closing my eyes and I was sitting and I was looking, the sense of existence, the thought is always referring that as a person, but the sense of existence is also experienced, like it is also kind of like a known by knowingness or
Yes.
something. And when I go back, it kinds of put the infinite loop, like what is, and then the mind jumps and says it's my knowingness, my awareness, my.
Wait. Again, let's wait for a minute.
Sure.
So you
So
say
you say
that
that
I'm hearing myself. So maybe you can mute for a while and then you can come back to. Very good. So you said that there is a knowing even of this sense of existence, the sense I am, the sense of being. You see? And then very rightly you said the mind tries to convince you that this sense of existence itself is personal. This that I call God, I am, actually is pretending to play as if it is a person by believing thoughts which are referring to it as if it is a person. You say that all of this is seen now, that this existence is not personal, it has no personal needs, desires, plans, ambitions, aversions, resentments, regrets, things. You see, it is just being. Being is just being. Very beautiful. Then you say that even this is known, there is a knowing even of this being. You see? Now, from what I gathered from what you said is that this is a very pristine discovery. I am aware of my being. Awareness is aware even of beingness. And many times I hear this report that this becomes a infinite loop, but it's not a loop. It's very clear actually. Being is here and also being is known. I know that I am, not mentally, not conceptually, but directly. There is awareness of being. You see, all different ways of saying the same thing. Now, where is the loop?
So Father, like mind says like what next? Like
Yes.
this is like, I mean, uh, so the It seems like I'm handovering whatever that's realization to the mind, like finally, and
So don't,
mind.
so don't hand it over to the mind because it'll only, I often take this example that I bake a chocolate cake for you, and if you give it to the mind, it's only going to mix mud in it. So you're coming to very beautiful, very pristine realization. Don't wait for your mind's interpretation of this. Because the mind will always say things like, oh, but then this becomes like two mirrors facing each other. It's an endless loop. No, it's very clear. You know that you exist. It's straightforward, full stop. There's no loop. You see? But if you give it to the mind, I know it can happen like this. The mind says, so now is it done? What next? But this being then, is it not knowing? It's all tries to confuse you because it can no longer convince you. It tries to confuse you. You see?
Yes, Father, like it was like I got a little kind of like anxiety, like as if I'm like stuck there because after that kind of realization, I could not take out my focus or attention to anything because everything is just like changing, and I found that place, it's kind of like an axis, which is at least the mind can hold to that. Like it was so restless, and I found like this sense of existence is the constant, and everything else is just like, even if it is consciousness, even if it is everything is one, but still I see that everything is just changing, and that is only the resting place of my mind, and I could not come out of it. And later on I got a little of anxiety, a fearness, like as if I'm trying to cling to that one. And then honestly I tried to search with Muji's, like Muji saying something on the I am, and then I found he mentioned like exactly, he told like mind will be asking what next, what next, stay there. So it's kind of, Father, like it's a direct experience because I have juggled with so many frames, models, concept and everything, and none of them worked for me because for everything I have to imagine something and something. So this is when I realized like what it is, like everything is changing. What it is, that is it like constant, or I forgot all these words, awareness and everything, but I found like the sense of existence is always there, and that keeps the continuity of the life actually. That makes me that makes feel that this person, whatever this, and this is continuing this life. But sometimes it's like, as I mentioned, like this mind takes over this one and says like, okay, you found it. Sometimes it's the mind says like, you did good job, you found it. And sometimes it scares me, you are stuck, because I can't do anything else. Like, I mean, people are thinking I'm getting losing interest in everything. Like my family thinks I'm getting lethargic, no more interest in anything. And now the next anxiety is like the India trip. I'm scared because I can't socialize with people anymore as I used to, because I can't talk anything else about jewelry, shopping and all those, because
Yeah.
it's, it's sometimes I feel a little bit of hard how to talk, how to prepare myself to talk with my family, because they will be thinking, is she going under depression or what is that? Why she is behaving? Because I told my dad like about little bit about satsang and attending. He told, I mean all family members says like, oh, you can be Ramana, you can be Nisargadatta. They are blessed souls. They are only made specifically for like sainthood and all that. So, Father, like, I mean, I don't want to debate. I don't want to be kind of, but I'm like feeling helpless.
So just mute so you don't. So what happens is that you're getting this beautiful discovery, this beautiful recognition, and you say that I am is the only constant, and even this is known. You see? Now, after this, when we give this also to the mind, it starts putting conditions. You see, I am scared, I am lethargic, I am losing it, I am depressed. Either you are putting the conditions or those minds around you which seem to appear are putting mind, which is trying to put some condition to this pure sense of existence I am. Okay? But a condition can only be added if you give it some belief. Very common part of this switching over from person idea to just handing over to existence. It is very commonly seen that this play of losing interest happens. You see? And this sense that other family members come and say you're depressed happened here, it happened with everyone. And actually, I remember the time where my family would come and say, but you're losing all interest, are you depressed? What happened to you? It was the happiest time. uh, There's so much emergence of joy. Maybe then I would go to the mirror and see how am I looking actually? What is this face showing? So, and then what happened is that after this phase also went, then I found that most of the time there was this big smile stuck on my face. This is this big satsang grin, which is constantly stuck. Yeah. Now even that is settled down. So the inward smile continues, but the face is not constantly grinning. I remember my jaws used to pain almost every day. My cheeks and jaws, they were just stuck over there. There's something would have felt okay. You wanted it to show outward the joy that you're feeling inwardly. Here you go. So if you see some photos of mine, maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, you'll see that there was this constant satsang grin. Uh, and now I notice that even that is settled down. It's more relaxed. It's not showing outwardly so much. So all of this is the natural flow of these things. You just don't attach anything to this I am. Don't even attach I am free. Nothing. Don't believe anything about yourself. Let all of this flow naturally as it is doing for you. In fact, I'm very happy that I saw your message where you said that you'll be in satsang here in Bangalore soon. I'm very happy, waiting for you to come actually. So, so it's flowing so beautifully, you see, even outwardly. So, don't attach any conditions. Don't believe any concepts about yourself. And this I amness itself is coming to the recognition of its source and coming to the true discovery of what it is. So no, there is really no use, and you are losing all interest in all ideas about Purbi anyway. Because it was fun to play with for a while. Just like when we are children, maybe for girls it's fun to play with dolls and it's giving a doll some dresses and personality and seeming attributes. But after a while that game is done. You see? So if someone comes to you and say, let's play with this doll, you'll say, I'm beyond that now. Just in the same way now, the play of Purvi, the play with the Purvi identity is dissolving, and your interest in that is going. As interest in that is going, it can seem like to the world that you are disinterested in life, which is not the case. This great wonder, great joy that you're finding in life more and more every moment is so fresh and beautiful, and it will start to reflect even on your face, even in your expressions. So there is no rush to get there.
So Father, honestly, I don't feel that joyness. I mean, I like I would be honest in that. But
I can see it.
so one thing I would like to share is like Father, like as I wrote in the altar, like when I came across like Maharaj's quotation, like one of those like he wrote it like I left my mind and my body to their destiny and I just stay. So I started. I thought like I should not be paying attention to my crazy thoughts and all that which were causing me suffering because initially that was the because the suffering was the one that got me to this line. Uh, so that was my first intention, like I should not be paying attention to the thoughts. And then I started like ignoring those thoughts. And then later on, some other thoughts came. So spends months together just ignoring, like just like trying to kill the mosquitoes. I mean, just it was continuing forever because I could not grasp what he was mentioning or he was pointing to. But then I found it like, let it happen, whatever it is happening. Let me hold to this, let this mind hold to this constant factor, the sense of existence. Let everything, I don't care. I mean, I don't care, or what it is happening, I don't have any control over it actually, because that's what I found it. If I try to work on some thought, some other will come. So it didn't work actually. Like whatever the tool, whatever those yogas, whatever I did, it didn't work actually. It just tried to have like a temporary band-aids for them. Maybe 10 days I will be happy. Then again the next day, again those I have it will come up. So it was like preparing myself for the war like every time. So I thought like I would be rather be weapon without weapon, just holding to what it is constant. Be safe there. So is that Father like what Maharaj said like or I am interpreting my mind? I just wanted to be I just listen from you, Father, like what I could not hear, Father.
You're muted.
Okay, so I'm on mute now. You can hear now? Yes. Okay, very good. So when Maharaj is saying that I just remain as I am and I leave my worldly existence to unfold as it is unfolding, he is speaking from the perspective of awareness or of beingness. Now, usually what happens is there's a sense that I am a person who is now hanging on to this presence for dear life. As life is unfolding in itself, I am hanging on to the presence. You see? So, as you are now hanging on to the presence, you will find that the one that is hanging on to the presence was never really there. It was just being, which is being. You see, so dissolution of the identity for you in your case is happening in this way, where it seemed like Purbi at one point decided that what she is going to do is hang on to the presence and ignore everything else which is going. Then it seems like the distinction, the seeming distinction between presence and Purvi is dissolving, and only presence remains. Then even the sense of trying to hold on to it tight as a lifeboat, this goes. You see? Because you see that there is no Purvi there who is drowning, and just presence is here. And all of these appearances are just movements of the waves in the ocean called presence. Right? When you see anything to hold on to the ocean, it is the waves which are arising and falling within you as presence. You see? So then there can be the sense that it started with the sense I Purvi am holding on to the presence I am, goes to I am that I am, and then ultimately to I know that I am. So that which knows I am sees that I am just remains as I am, and the worldly existence is unfolding just on its own. There is nothing to be done about it. There is no individual doer thereof. Mhm. So in this very natural way, your sense of individual identity, I am something, I amness, the somethingness is dissolving.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you. It's okay.
Just like from our discussions today, the few questions came up. And first one is we're speaking about how the minds of others are just like our mind, like they just suggest thoughts. But then I just wanted to clarify, because also it seems that when the minds of others speak, it's a bit more demanding, like they demand a bit more attention and they want to engage you. And it becomes a conversation in a way, and you can't ever, like, just not believing them isn't enough, because they want to be heard, and they want to express, and it's also coming out of a place of love, that they want to um, let's say, like, they're concerned about you or something. It's coming from a place of love, and they want to feel heard somehow.
Yes.
And so just by not believing them, this creates kind of like a stuckness or a conflict. That's what I found in the case, like with my family being concerned about me and things like that. And it feels as if the immediate reaction is, no, I don't believe what you say, but actually underneath that there's a kind of a subtle rejection of what they're saying. And so I just wanted to bring that up.
Also that it can be like this, that you're in this particular situation, you see, and you can't just wish it away. You see, like you just let them come and go. You see, but we apply the same principle in satsang also, which means that once you're in the hot seat, and I say, so who are you? You can't just wish it away. It's like many times inquiry, you can get distracted from or something. So one of the potent parts of satsang and the hot seat is that when you come up here and they say, so who are you? You can't really, you can try, but I'm not going to let it go. It's just like this when you're with our parents or family members or something. When you're there, you just can't like abracadabra, wish it away. It seems like something has to be dealt with. So then what to do? Suppose it is your father who's saying something, and he's coming, like you say, coming from a place of love. And what to do? Just take what is being said, check it within, whether something resonates with your heart, with your intuitive presence in what he's saying or she's saying. You see? And then if there's resonance, then it is already accepted from there. There's nothing more that needs to be done. But if you find that it is contrary to what you're discovering as the truth about yourself, then you can just allow it to go. Because in this appearance, everyone seems to have followed different paths and wanting different goals. So we must look at from which perspective that advice is coming from. Even if it is accompanied with big love, doesn't mean necessarily that it is true. You see? So one tip is that if it is the end of suffering and the realization of the self that you want, you see, then which consultant will you go to? You will go to one who has come to the end of suffering and to the realization of the self. You see, you will not go to most people in the world to ask about this. You see, but if you do, then the world loves giving advice. So if you go to anyone and those who care about you, they will say, okay, do this, do that. Then, although if someone has felt that they have become happy through money, or someone has felt they've become happy through some other way, then that is what the advice will be. You see? But if you have seen for yourself that what I really want is the truth about who I am, to realize myself, then we must go to those who have had this recognition of the self. You see? Because if it's very logical what I'm saying actually. You see, if you have a throat infection, you'll not go to a foot doctor. The foot doctor might love you and might give you advice with full love, but doesn't make it right. If you have a throat infection, then you go to a throat doctor. If it is freedom that you want, then you go to a sage. If it is advice on making money, then you go to people who around you who made lots of money. So accept the love, but don't have to accept the content of what is being said just because love is the accompaniment to that.
Inner acceptance
Yes.
also affect their outer expression, because what I found was, like I remember before I was kind of complaining about my family and all these things, and actually when I looked at it closer, it's not really my family as a whole, it's actually one member of the family, and they, or say my family, but really it's actually just one family member. And
she came this close to telling me which one,
yeah,
but then she stopped. It's okay.
it's okay, but that one will, it's not even my mother, my father, my stepmother, my stepfather. It's tendency to really those that they haven't. It's almost like they're so full of suffering and worry that it almost has a poisonous impact. I feel on the others. But so with this one family member, it's like I don't ask for advice, but it's every opportunity it's given. And actually, what I noticed before was all these things that were coming up. I want a partner, and all of these like very materialistic things are actually the things that she was always telling me. It's like this was like coming through. And so before, when she would say these things, there would almost be like a rejection of it, kind of. Not a rejection, but a dismissal of it. And then I'm really happy that all this stuff was coming up, because it's like I was like denying a part of myself by rejecting her expression somehow. And but so I just wonder if there just feels like an aversion there, that I don't want to keep hearing these things again and again. And
there many times. So, for example, if someone comes to us and they're speaking just nonsense, then mostly it doesn't matter. You see, when it starts to matter is when we feel that there could be some truth in what they're saying. You see? So it's just purely just something is just, the sentences are not even making sense, then it doesn't bother us. We can just laugh at it or something. You see? But when this sense is there that they could be right, when you're believing this, then that becomes troublesome. You see? So it's not that you don't want to hear it. There is a fear that she could be right or he could be right. You see? So that is what we must look at together. And look at that and say, is there any way in which what I am discovering about myself could be replaced by these ideas of having a very fancy life and being the lifestyles of the rich and famous or something like this? If that still has some juice, then that will play itself out either in the form of this family member or something else, or some other life event will come. You see? Because this is what needs to be inquired into. And in India and Buddhism, these kind of places, very often we use things like death to really inquire into these things. To say that if this was my dying deathbed, if I was dying now in the next few hours, would I be concerned about the kind of money I have and what kind of good life I've led? Or would I be just resting in the truth of what I am? What is it that makes more sense? We can use tools like this to find that it does all of this seeming pleasure, how much of it can be enjoyed anyway. You see? The sensory limits to enjoyment. You see? But what I don't want to do is just identify as that which doesn't exist and live this kind of life. And then you see that there is nothing, at least I have found, which matches this pristine discovery that you're making about yourself. No matter what is happening outside you, what is happening to your body, none of that really comes close to this recognition of the self. And as you inquire into this and you become clearer and clearer about this, then what another is saying doesn't really matter so much. Because you know that you've seen that, you've actually explored it, so you're not running from it anymore. Okay? And that gives more acceptance actually, because you have seen it to be false. The mind says, but that will make you all close. Actually, it makes you very open, because you know it cannot touch you actually. Yeah. That's why the question, who am I, is so helpful, because for anything you can apply it. No? Who wants to have a good life? Who would experience it? You see, that itself, you find that there's a great meaninglessness to these phenomenal worldly ideas. But this has to come from you, from your inquiry. Let me not bias you with my finding. And this inquiry actually helps in a lot of things, like not just the things that you spoke about, finding a partner who's well to do and things like this, but also the sense of working, living up to potential, all these kind of ideas that we have. There is no better living up to potential than the discovery of the self. And yet the mind comes and says, oh, just getting some more paper and plastic and metal, credit cards and paper money and coins is what is your highest potential. Secrets after a while, that if I'm living on this mountain of this paper, which is called money, what is it going to get me?
Yeah, no, there's been like a big change recently where I am like I expressed this that I do feel like I only I only want truth, and that there's only reason I would feel any happiness is because of like getting some kind of external things. It's because it's like I've conditioned through believing thoughts that like this will make me happy, and then it's only it's like I give my power away in a way, and I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to do that. So it's like more clear now. Like I only want this.
This is very good. So what happens is, opposed to everything else in the world, you say, I'm going to finish my education, I will become a doctor. We start preparing, studying, start everything. We say, okay, became doctor. You see? Like that. So with all endeavors. You say, I have a new adventure. You have your backpack ready to climb the Himalayas and for the truths. I'm all for the truths. And then someone comes and says, but you are that already. What? When I had all my stuff ready, I was ready for this hike, and this is the way I do things, doing it in this way. You see? So then this, we want to then become the seeker of the truth. And sometimes you are stuck in a place like this where even this one is not accepted. The seeker of the truth. You see? You say, but you're seeking the truth. So where must the truth be that you're trying to find?
This kind of goes into my second question as well.
Okay.
Like I'm free in this moment,
Yes.
and it was like very powerful when you said that. And so like what I am is always free.
Yes.
But I was trying to explain this yesterday too, and I'm actually happy that I had time to like let it mature, because I was saying how there's like two types of freedom. There's the freedom that in this moment I'm free, and then there's this other freedom. And actually I realized it's just the freedom that my mind wants to be the enlightened person or something like that. Like the
other freedom.
The other freedom that's saying if you were free, then the manifest experience would look a certain way, and you would
You would be sharing satsang,
Yeah, and also
this
not
kind
even
of
just
thing.
sharing satsang, but honestly, I feel most of the time when I speak, like when I hear others speak, I feel like a recognition or a sense like, oh, they're speaking from presence. Most of the time when I speak, I feel I'm just speaking from the mind, and I also feel um, that I'm that I don't feel that my this personal expression is like exemplary of truth or something like that. I don't see that. I don't
It's
feel that.
contradictory actually to expect the personal expression
Yeah.
to be an embodiment of the truth.
Yeah. But then I also,
So now,
yeah.
so for me, it's always like now, right? So now, don't speak from the mind. You say, and there is nothing wrong with that silence. You see, because it can feel like, oh, we look at the Sangha and so many seemingly speaking from presence. For me, my presence is just quiet. You see, and it can be like that for long time after meeting Guruji. I didn't feel to say anything. You see? But this does not mean just because it is silent. You see? Doesn't mean that we have to go with the next best thing, which is to go to the mind, which is the worst thing possibly. And then one day you might find that there's the urge to share something, an urge you might just find that the mouth just communicating what the mind is saying. It seems to be coming from a qualitatively deeper space. And this waiting period is where the mind will come strongly and give you all kinds of ideas and things here. And if you can just allow them to come and go, not be in a rush about anything at all, then you'll find that there's nothing really that needs to be spoken. And there's no concern actually about what is being spoken or not. Then you will find in the words which are appearing from your own mouth that there's so much joy, so much beauty in them. So just like this, like you said, I am free now. And what you were saying yesterday was, but still doesn't feel like I'm free, or the I want to have that feeling of freedom. Was it you or somebody else? I'm not sure. But it is not about any type of feeling, not even about the expression which is coming through the mouth. Just about, initially, just seems to be about remaining still and not going with the content of the thoughts, not buying the content of these thoughts. And then when that becomes so natural and effortless, then you might find automatically a deeper, more intuitive presence seems to start using words and communicating through you. It doesn't have to go like that, because even your presence itself is enough. So neither a desire for that nor an aversion to that. Just to see that you are free now, and to not buy what your next thought is selling you is enough. Okay, Aparna wants to come. She can come.
Namaste, Father.
Namaste, namaste, my dear.
Namaste.
Dhanika is there?
Dhanika.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Huh? Huh?
We all miss your singing. We all miss your
He's missing his English. You want to say something? Huh? You want to say? Say hello, namaste, say namaste. Just had a few things to expose as well. This one just happened today, Father. It's fear of men.
Fear of men.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very uncomfortable. I'm not able to speak. It's just an instant happened today. Like my garage remote was not working. So I had to call up the building manager today, and he didn't say anything. It was just a normal conversation. He said like call me at 5 o'clock or something. That itself just triggered something here, which brought up some past memory actually, and it kind of created some fear inside. And since then, it's kind of made me feel sad and upset. So I don't know for what reason, but maybe past experience, I'm not sure, but something which they had spoken also previously kind of had made me get scared last time and all. So when they said like call me at 5 o'clock, I don't know why I didn't take it straight away. I'm in a direct whatever in a simple way he said that, but I could not
Sorry,
relate
I'm
to.
not understanding very clearly. Someone
Oh,
told
sorry.
you to come at
Just call. No. The building manager just asked me to call back at 5 o'clock. I mean today here at 5 o'clock, but then that message was not taken very simple. Like because of past experience or something, I could not take it very direct and a simple way. Like as clear as it is. Call me at 5. It was very simple, but then previously something had happened which kind of had created a fear in me. So when when he said that, it kind of made me feel more insecure and somehow um, um, there was a lot of fear actually. So I just wanted to expose that to you also. Maybe because of the past experience, I'm not sure what, but somehow that fear is still there about men looking at women in a different way, something like that.
Yes. And this previously something had happened with the same man or somebody else?
With his subordinate actually, not the same man, but with his subordinate, he had spoken something very.
I see. I see.
So when he said to call back, I really got scared because my situation. Sorry. I mean, there is nothing to be worried, but I don't know why it came up like that. And
Okay, so there are two answers I want to give you. One answer is from just a phenomenal, very practical perspective, and that is that the discovery of who you are doesn't, doesn't mean that you have to become reckless about the body in any way. So if you're sensing something is not right or something is dangerous, then take all possible precautions to keep the body safe. There's nothing wrong with that. Hmm? Now, if it is, so the second answer is like this: if this is just purely based on some prior conditioning, you see, just some idea, even a phenomenal appearance just based on some irrational thoughts, then you will find that as you're coming to the truth of who you are, all of this conditioning will dissolve. You see, and you will be left with the intuitive guidance where you can get the sense of whether something is auspicious or not, and also the sense of movement in this kind of situation. So in this particular case, someone was inappropriate or someone behaved or misbehaved in some way, then we can make the complete to people and get the issue resolved. If you find that it is not really about what really happened, but more about our own conditioning and things which might have happened many years before, and that still continues to play out, then we can inquire into these kind of fears and allow life to unfold as it is unfolding, neither from a place of fear nor from a place of recklessness, just so this kind of fear, is it new for you or has it been there for some time?
I was never having this kind of fear before, but because previously this happened, so it's just a fear that people might take advantage of me, especially, it just happened within this past 2 years. That's all. It was not there before. It just happened recently only. So because I'm like this by myself, what if they take advantage, or something? It's safe here, but suddenly if something happens, Father, I don't have it. Like suddenly even there's no one to scream or shout or call for help also, other than the police or something. I've previously I've told them and complained and all those things I've done. I make sure that I'm safe, but it's very unpredictable. That's what I was trying to convey, because today I planned something else and it turned out to be something else the day. So I decided I'm not going to plan, because nothing is, for me, nothing works the way I plan. Everything has to go the way it has to.
Yes.
And this whole thing happened. So I don't know. It's going to be 5 closer to now. So somehow
So
I
just
felt like people take advantage of me because I'm like this.
just go with your intuition and whatever guidance you're getting from your intuition. Don't feel that you have to be forced into doing anything at all. You see? And sometimes when it feels like you really don't have an answer, then you just have to wait for life to provide you an answer. You see? So from a practical perspective, we can say like this. But from the perspective of the truth, you know that how hurt, it cannot be harmed. So rest in the knowing of the truth of what you are. But that doesn't mean that we have to have a recklessness or a callousness about the state of the body or the functioning of the body. Just neutrality. Remain in your neutrality and you will see that something will resolve itself.
That's right, Father. Because then these thought came like the other thought which came up is it's okay. God won't just just abandon you like this or put you into trouble like this. Something like all those thoughts around it came up. I know it was all thoughts. I was just noticing it, all those things. But still it's scary to because it's already experienced, so it's a bit scary. You don't know how it's going to turn out or something. It was all thoughts, but you can't use those thoughts because I'm going to just test it. And, you can't use those thoughts to just cover up the fear or something like that. Even now, I can feel that sensation in my heart, that fear sensation. And I can't suppress that fear also. It's really intense.
And we have to allow all this fear to unfold in the way it is unfolding, not trying to push it away at all. The simplest thing is to just let it be life's problem, God's problem. Let that guide you as to your next step.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you.
My daughter wants to see you.
Hello.
Yeah. Speak quickly. You have to speak. Please. I'm waiting. Speak. Speak.
Say namaste everyone. Welcome to Satsang today.
Namaste. Not very good. That's not very good. Quickly. Where did you go? You can't run away like that. Speak. Speak. Actually, say that. Say that. Say. Namaste, everyone. Say that. Okay, bye. Say bye. No! Just say quickly. You can't wait. There are people waiting there. All others are waiting there. They have to speak to him as well. Quickly. Quickly. Say namaste, everyone. Say namaste, everyone. You can't wait. You can't make him wait. That's not very nice. Quickly. You want to say or not? No? Say bye to him. Bye. She's just crazy. Thank you, Father.
Thank you.
She doesn't want to let you go. He wants to go and speak to others. You can't speak only to you. Say bye to him quickly. No, he can't. She wants you to speak only to him, to her.
Think to her.
Oh, he's talking to you, but you're not talking to him. That's okay, Father. Thank you.
Hi, beta.
Say bye to him then. Say bye to him. Speak then. Speak. You can't waste his time like that. That's not very nice. Say bye. Say bye to him. So you have to say bye to him. You can't
He
keep
doesn't want
talking
to
to
say
him.
bye also. He doesn't want to
But she
speak.
just wants to say hi and she doesn't want to say bye. Quickly.
You want me to start one monologue for you?
She's always telling me that she wants to go back to Tiro again for the
Yeah.
retreat again.
Yes.
That's okay. Thank you, Father.
Thank you, my dear. Bye bye. Okay, good for today. Thank you all so very much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Mujji Ji ki Jai. Yes, yes. Come, come. Yeah, please.
It's a song by Muruganar Swami about Bhagavan
Ah,
and translated into English by Professor Swaminathan,
ah.
sung by Sharadaka initially.
Sung by?
Dr. Sharadaka.
Yes,
who-
yes.
So I heard it recently and loved it very much so. Both male and female, far and near, mountain huge and at pure spirit, he whose sidelong glance has made me see the truth invisible. Both male and female, far and near, mountain huge and atom small, pure spirit, he whose sidelong glance has made me see the truth invisible. And hear the dancing music of his feet, and hear the dancing music of his feet, and hear the dancing music beat. For he has caught within his heart and carries in his cosmic dance this midget, this midget. What extravagance of grace, what extravagance, what extravagance of grace, what extravagance to hold me in this bliss, both mine and his, together and apart, both male and female, far and near, mountain huge and atom small, pure spirit, he whose sidelong glance as see the truth invisible.
Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sadhguru Shri Mujiji ki Jai. Thank you, Stacy, for moderating today. It's probably the last time we'll be using the name Stacy. Yeah, but we can end the broadcast now.